Imagine building something small but life-changing for your child. Picture a father, sleeves rolled up, sweat on his brow, hammer in hand, crafting a wooden ramp in front of his modest suburban home. Not for luxury, not for decoration, but for love. His daughter, just 9 years old, watches from her wheelchair, her eyes wide with hope. When he finishes, she wheels herself onto the ramp for the first time, giggling with freedom as she says, "Daddy, I can finally go inside by myself." That single moment makes every sacrifice worth it. But then the letter arrives. Bold red letters scream from the page, HOA violation, $5,000 fine. The father's hands shake. His vision blurs. His heart drops. He fought wars for his country, survived battles overseas. But nothing prepared him for this battle at home. This is the story of David, a veteran, a father, and a man who refused to let injustice silence him. David had served in the military with honor. Years of discipline, sacrifice, and scars, both visible and hidden, were proof of his loyalty. But life after service wasn't easy. His wife had passed away years earlier, leaving him alone to raise Sarah, their only daughter. Sarah had been in a tragic accident that left her bound to a wheelchair. Despite her condition, she was a bright, joyful child who loved to paint, sing, and dream big. David's mission in life became simple: to make Sarah's world easier, safer, and filled with possibilities. When Sarah complained about struggling to get inside the house, David knew he had to act. He couldn't afford fancy contractors, so he worked day and night, using his own 2 hands to build a simple ramp. It wasn't fancy, but it was sturdy, safe, and most importantly, gave his daughter independence. The first time Sarah wheeled up that ramp, her laughter echoed through the neighborhood. "Look, Daddy, I can do it by myself." David's chest swelled with pride. For a brief moment, the weight of his struggles lifted. But the next morning, reality hit him harder than any battlefield. Inside his mailbox was a letter from the Homeowners Association. His gut tightened as he tore it open. Line after line, his heart sank deeper. The HOA had declared his ramp an unauthorized modification, demanding immediate removal or a fine of $5,000. David sat on the porch steps, the letter crumpled in his fist. $5,000? For helping my daughter? His voice cracked, but only the silent hedges answered. Sarah wheeled outside, noticing his expression. "What's wrong, Daddy?" she asked innocently. David forced a smile, hiding the letter behind his back. "Nothing, sweetheart. Just grown-up stuff." That night, when Sarah slept, David sat at the kitchen table, staring at the letter under the dim light. His military pension barely covered bills. He had no savings for emergencies this large. But it wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, about his daughter's right to live freely in her own home. The next day, he marched to the HOA office. "This ramp is for my disabled daughter," he said firmly. "You can't expect me to tear it down." The board members exchanged indifferent glances. One cleared his throat. "Rules are rules, sir. Unauthorized structures lower property values. You could have filed for approval." David clenched his jaw. "Approval? Do you know how long that process takes? My daughter needed it now." Another board member shrugged coldly. "You'll need to remove it or pay the fine." Rage boiled in his chest, but he knew yelling wouldn't help. He left, fists clenched, heart heavy. Days passed. The fine notices kept coming, each one more threatening. Neighbors whispered, some sympathetic, others annoyed. "Why can't he just follow the rules?" they muttered. David tried to ignore them, but each comment cut deep. One afternoon, Sarah overheard a conversation. Tears welled in her eyes as she asked, "Daddy, did I do something bad? Is the ramp my fault?" David knelt beside her, hugging her tight. "No, baby. Never. This isn't your fault. Don't you ever think that." But inside, he felt broken. A father should protect his child, not let her feel guilty for something that gave her freedom. That night, David made a decision, He wasn't going to bow down. He would fight. With shaking hands, he filed a case against the HOA, claiming discrimination under the Americans with Disabilities Act. His friends told him he was crazy. "They've got lawyers, David. You'll never win." But he didn't care. This wasn't about winning or losing. This was about standing up for Sarah. Weeks turned into months. Court day arrived. David sat in the courtroom, wearing his old suit, Sarah by his side. Across the aisle, the HOA representatives sat smugly in polished suits, their folders stacked neatly. The judge, a stern woman with sharp eyes, called the case. David rose, heart pounding. "Your Honor," he began, his voice trembling but steady. "I'm not here to break rules. I'm here to give my daughter a life she deserves. That ramp isn't decoration, it's her freedom. Without it, she's trapped. Isn't that what this country stands for? Freedom?" The courtroom fell silent. Sarah squeezed his hand, her wide eyes brimming with trust. The HOA's lawyer stood, arguing about neighborhood aesthetics and property values. He spoke in circles, drowning in legal jargon. But when the judge turned back to David, she asked softly, "And your daughter? How has this ramp changed her life?" David's voice cracked. "She smiles again, Your Honor. She doesn't have to wait for me to carry her. She feels normal. That ramp gave her dignity." For a moment, the judge's eyes softened. She looked at Sarah, who sat quietly in her wheelchair, clutching her teddy bear. Then the gavel struck. "The court rules in favor of Mr. David. The ramp is a necessary accommodation under the ADA. The HOA's fine is dismissed, and any further harassment will result in penalties." The room erupted. Gasps, murmurs, whispers. The HOA board sat frozen, their arrogance shattered. David hugged Sarah tightly, tears streaming down his face. "We did it, baby. We did it." That night, as neighbors gathered, some apologized, others cheered. The story spread beyond the neighborhood. Local news picked it up. David, once invisible, became a symbol of resilience. But for him, the victory wasn't about attention. It was about one thing: his daughter's smile. Sarah rolled up the ramp proudly, raising her arms like a champion crossing the finish line. "Daddy, we won!" she shouted. And in that moment, David knew. No fine, no board, no rule book could ever break the bond between a father and his child. This story isn't just about an HOA or a ramp. It's about love, dignity, and the courage to fight when the world tells you to stay silent. David proved that one act of defiance fueled by love can ripple through an entire community and inspire change. So here's the question for you. If you saw injustice unfolding right in front of you, would you stay quiet, or would you stand up and fight? If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more real stories that remind us kindness, courage, and love are stronger than any rule book.